There is a very specific type of chaos that happens when you put four people on the same couch, stare at the same screen, and tell them to destroy each other. Modern online gaming mostly paved over that experience. Hopping into a matchmaking lobby completely solves the hurdle of getting your friends together on a Tuesday night. But playing isolated in your own room trades away that physical, loud intimacy. Reclaiming that peak in-person social energy means relying on legacy hardware, and getting everyone in the same room usually requires a minor scheduling miracle. We are evaluating these setups strictly through the lens of return on investment. We're looking past the nostalgia to see what these games actually cost in time and effort. To evaluate that ROI, we weigh two metrics. First is the input cost, the actual hardware you have to buy, maintain, and set up, plus the difficulty of scheduling the session. Second is the outcome, the specific social dynamic that game extracts from your friend group. This comparison table shows the trade-off clearly. Modern online sits comfortably at low setup friction, but delivers low in-person intimacy. Retro local demands a high friction setup, but yields a high intimacy payoff. Success as a host comes down to matching the cost of entry to the specific social experience you want to curate for your friends. If you have a mixed step group with non-gamers, you want Sega Dreamcast's ChuChu Rocket. It offers the absolute highest accessibility on the market. The required input is minimal. You hold the controller, point the directional pad, and press any of the four face buttons to place an arrow on the board. That is the entire mechanical learning curve. Because of that, the outcome is near instant onboarding. You can hand a controller to someone who hasn't played a video game in a decade, and within 30 seconds, they're surviving frantically fast rounds. But the core mechanics demand a specific behavioral trade-off. You score points by guiding mice into your rocket, but the easiest way to swing the lead is to intercept a line of cats and redirect those hazards directly into your opponent's base. It relies entirely on zero-sum griefing. You quickly find out who your friends really are. Give it 3 rounds, and even the most polite, mild-mannered people in the room will start treating those cats like personal heat-seeking missiles aimed directly at whoever is in first place. The ROI here is excellent if you want to get everyone playing immediately. Just make sure your group has a high tolerance for direct, unapologetic sabotage. If you want to scale up from 4 players, Saturn Bomberman represents the absolute ceiling of 2D room-scale multiplayer. But getting there requires a massive baseline input. First, you have to locate, buy, and maintain a working Sega Saturn console. Looking at this input cost scorecard, the Saturn is just the start. To hit maximum capacity, you also have to track down 2 separate multi-tap peripherals, plus 10 individual controllers to plug into them. And honestly, the hardware is the easy part. The true logistical bottleneck is successfully convincing 10 adults with jobs, families, and unpredictable schedules to be in your living room at the exact same time. Overcoming that friction yields a room full of 10 people screaming at a single screen, forming alliances, breaking them seconds later, and feeding off total chaotic energy. Because of the immense financial and organizational cost, this isn't a casual Friday night option. It turns into a rare, highly curated white whale event. For groups willing to commit to a multi-session campaign, Zelda Four Swords Adventures offers a premium cooperative experience. The hardware input is extremely specific. You need a GameCube, 4 individual Game Boy Advances, and 4 proprietary link cables to tether them all together. The payoff for that tangled mess of wires is a deeply engaging dual-screen mechanic. Players transition seamlessly between the main TV and their private handheld screens, forcing everyone to constantly communicate and coordinate in real time to solve puzzles. The trade-off is strict. Your progression is entirely bottlenecked by the weakest link. If one player in the room gets distracted or decides to be uncooperative, the whole team grinds to a halt. You also carry an ongoing scheduling risk. Because it's structured as a campaign, you have to book consistent, recurring sessions with the exact same 4 people to see it through to the end. Your return on investment is entirely gated by group commitment. You can buy all the expensive hardware, but a single flaky participant will ruin the entire run. Now, if you want something truly distinct, Nintendo Land relies entirely on the unique architecture of the Wii U. The input challenge here is rising every year. You have to acquire and maintain an out-of-print console, hoping the central, bulky gamepad doesn't die on you, because replacing it is difficult. This schematic illustrates the outcome: asymmetrical gameplay. You have one player looking at hidden movement information on their private gamepad, while 3 opposing players share the main TV screen and try to hunt them down. That hidden movement mechanic acts as the ultimate equalizer. A complete casual can use the private screen to outsmart 3 hardcore, high-skill gamers simply by moving quietly and observing their blind spots. This dynamic can't be easily replicated on modern single-screen consoles. The high ROI of that exact social experience easily justifies the risk of investing in a decaying hardware ecosystem. Finally, if you want to generate extreme emotional volatility, Mario Party 2 is the engine for it. The input required here isn't hardware, it's a mindset. Everyone sitting down to play has to agree to completely surrender to random number generation. Mechanics like chance time actively ignore how well you play the minigames. You can dominate the board through practiced mechanical skill for 40 minutes and lose all your stars to a lucky dice block. The outcome is a series of massive, unpredictable spikes. You'll hear screaming, genuine rage, and triumphant laughter, mostly because no player is ever mathematically safe from losing it all. The psychological trade-off is steep. Highly competitive players who expect merit-based systems will often deeply resent this forced equalization. To get the actual ROI out of Mario Party, you can't view it as a fair competitive game. You have to treat it as a volatile social experiment, designed specifically to test your friendships. So, the snacks are set out, the game controllers are completely untangled, and now you must make a final choice. Peak Local Multiplayer is a tool used to extract a specific behavioral response. You just need to choose your weapon carefully based on who is in the room. Looking at this quadrant chart, we map setup friction from low to high on the x-axis against emotional volatility from cozy to chaotic on the y-axis. If you are logistically constrained and just need a quick setup for a casual group, stick to the upper left. ChuChu Rocket and Mario Party deliver maximum chaos with minimal friction. If you are a gameplay optimizer looking for unique mechanics, Nintendo Land sits right in the middle. You take on moderate hardware friction in exchange for an asymmetrical experience you can't get anywhere else. And if you are a hardware purist, push all the way to the right. Saturn Bomberman and Four Swords demand massive setup costs, and you should only pursue them if the heavy scheduling effort is part of the fun. The perfect game night happens when you ruthlessly align your hardware investment with your friend group's actual availability and psychological makeup.